Hi guys, Aislinn here from Dream DIY. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel where I'm sharing with you my dream DIY journey as we turn our house into a home. Today's makeover is turning this really messy courtyard into a lovely little seating area where I can sit and have a cup of tea and read a good book. This area has always been an eyesore since we moved in. The first thing we did when we moved into the house was move the old oil tank that was in the middle of the courtyard. We put a smaller one into the shed. We replaced the patio doors. The back of the courtyard had a little window that looked into the shed, so we got rid of that as well because it looked really terrible. Our garage doesn't have a roof on it, so until we get round to doing that job, this is just a little clean up makeover to make this area look a little bit more pleasing to the eye. As always, the first thing I like to do before starting a project is clear the area and get it all cleaned up. This video is going to be in two parts. The first part is all about woodwork. With the courtyard all cleaned, I moved on to my first project, which was upcycling the old fence. The first job on today's list is to remodel this fence. I'm going to take the top off the fence. Now this was my dad's suggestion. He thought it would be nicer if we took the top off so you could actually see into the courtyard, and I think it really is going to make a huge difference. So that is today's first job. I got a new saw at Christmas and I haven't used it yet, so I'm very excited to get using it. So that's what I'm going to do now. Before I start sawing, I'm very lucky because this fence already has a support bit of wood behind the fence. And also I can use that as a guide to keep a straight line. So that just makes it easier for me to start sawing. A little tip when you are doing something like this, make sure your guide is flat against the piece of wood because it'll keep your blade straight and also give you a nice straight line. That was such an easy job to do with the electric saw. If I had been doing it with a hand saw, it would have took me forever and I don't think I would have got such a straight line. So yeah, happy with that. I'm going to move on to the next side of the fence. My dad was right, cutting the top of the fence was a great decision. It looks way better, it's opened up the area, and also you can now lean over here and have a little chat if you want to. I'm also going to put a shelf on top of the fence. We are so lucky in this house because we have so much spare timber lying around. This was from the living room, so I'm now using all these floorboards and lots of different DIY projects throughout the house and also in the garden. Next, I'm going to measure the top of the fence and then I'm going to cut the board to fit on top, and it's going to be a little shelf. A wee tip if you want to get the perfect right angle on your piece of wood that you're cutting, take your saw and put it nice and tight to the straight bit of the wood and then just mark it, and that will be a perfect right angle, which will ensure that you get a perfect straight cut. My two lengths are cut, so the next step is to remove all the nails and sand them down. After giving the plank a good sand, I'm now going to round off the corners and the edges just to give it a more finished look. That absolutely killed your hands. So that's the two boards sanded. The next thing now is to put them on top of the fence. One thing I've learned when doing things like this is that it's easier to drill the holes before you put in the screws. There's a post here which means I can put two pilot holes into it and that'll make it nice and secure. And also I'm going to mark here and here so I know I have a bit of wood that I can screw into. Now it's a little bit more tricky along here because obviously there's no wood behind it, so I just have to do it at the edge. So one here and one here. Also make sure you're not screwing or drilling into a knot because it's a little bit difficult to get through. So definitely no knots, so now I can go and make the drill holes. Before I secure the plank, I have to make sure it's sitting properly and I have to make sure that it's nice and square to the end of the post. So I'm happy with that. So I'm going to put in my first screw. And then I'm going to go to the bottom and then work my way up. See how much easier it is when you put it in the pilot holes, so definitely do that. Big tip. Okay, so I'm going to put the one in the middle. One there. One at the other end. So there you go, a little shelf. I can lean on it, it's lovely and secure. You can put your wee cup of tea, or Seamus can put his beer on it. And also if you just want to have a wee chat, you can lean over it. So I'm happy with that. Now on to the next fence. The shelves are on. I'm delighted with how it's looking so far. So next I'm going to give it a few coats of paint. Another transformation that I'm going to do in this courtyard is to put little doors on this coal shed. Now these doors, these were my granda's. These were his louvered doors. My granda wanted to give them to me because he knew I would repurpose them. They were sitting in his garage. I couldn't believe when I brought them up that the two doors fitted perfectly in this little doorway, and it's really going to just tidy up this whole area because I hate it looking in to the oil tank. I'm going to paint them, they're going to look even nicer. So I put a little frame around the door, so now it's ready for me to put the doors on. So what I've done is I put two hinges onto the frame, and now I've penciled in my little pilot holes the way I did with the shelf. So I've made my little markings. Now I'm going to drill the holes and then I'm going to attach them. I'm so excited about this makeover. I have wanted these. I've asked my dad to bring these up to me for years upon years. So finally I've got them. I have two more and I'm going to turn them into shutters. That is what I originally was going to do with them. But saying that, I thought there was only two, but he gave me four, that I'm going to have a little bit of a mirror kind of thing going on here. So there's going to be two shutters over here and two on the door opening. So now I'm going to go and drill the little holes. First hinge done. I've got another one to do at the bottom, and then I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. It's like a wee saloon bar. So there you have it. I have a lovely set of doors. My granda and my granny will be delighted. My granda has been talking about these since I bought the house, so I'm delighted that I'm finally getting to use it, because if you're following my blog, I've said many times that my granda and my dad are the ones that have got me into DIY, so it's nice to have a little bit of him in the courtyard. But yeah, I'm very happy with that. I need to put on the other handle. I also need to paint these hinges black. Here I'm all about using what you have, so I had two black ones and I had two silver ones, but I do have a little tin of black metal paint, so I will paint that and hopefully then they'll all match up. The next project of the day was to put the two remaining louvered doors onto the wall beside the patio doors. It was actually really hard to drill into the brick. My dad couldn't even do it, so I don't know if we were using the wrong drill bit or the brick was just really tough. So what I did was I cut 4 battens, I used hard as nails glue, put them onto the top and the bottom. I managed to get 1 screw in each, and then I screwed on the louvered door onto the battens, and actually it worked out better because they are sitting a little bit off the wall and just give it a little bit more depth. The shutters are now up. With a little bit of paint, they're going to look absolutely brilliant. It just adds a little bit more character to the patio doors. So to continue with the transformation of this courtyard, I'm now moving on to the back of the courtyard. Last year you might have seen on the wee blog that I did upcycle this seat. Basically it was just brick and then there was soil and things in it, but it always looked messy. So what I did was I got an old gate that was lying in the garage and I chopped it up and I made a little seat, and it's been really good. I've used it loads. So you're probably wondering what this monstrosity behind me is. Well, basically there was a window here, but like everything in this house that was owned, it was rotten and it was falling down. So we punched it through, but we still need to keep the opening because we use the garage behind it. We don't have a roof on the garage yet, so until we get that sorted, we still need to be able to put some rubble and things in there. So we put this bit of plywood on 2 hinges, so it'll swing back this way and we can still access the garage. But to try and tidy it up a wee bit and make it a frame, so I've cut 4 pieces of wood. This is the old wooden floor that I've used for everything else in the house. So I've just cut them made to measure and now I'm just screwing them in. I've also ordered some mirror tiles and I'm going to put them on it, so hopefully it'll reflect the light back into the courtyard. So I've already put 2 bits on and I'm going to continue with the bottom bit. With all that woodwork completed, it was time for a good bath to get ready for the next day, which was a day of painting. I painted everything in the courtyard, so please tune in to part 2 to see how my project is coming along. And remember, if you can dream it, you can DIY it.